Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Krsnatarian way of cooking. I am Radhika Pyari Devi Dasi, and today I am going to share with you a combo meal for Ekadashi. This video contains of 4 Ekadashi items which will complement each other for making a nice combo meal for Ekadashi. So let's look into the recipe. So first I am going to prepare the squash soup. So this is actually butternut squash I have taken. If you don't have butternut squash, you can use pumpkin as well. So this squash I have put in this pot, and this is the potatoes I'm going to use. This squash needs to be cooked for around 15 to 20 minutes, so it's completely tender. So I'm going to let that happen, and by that time I'm going to show you the sabji preparation. Here I've used around 2 tablespoons of ghee. You can use olive oil, and then added 2 bay leaves. Make sure that the heat is on low. Now I added around a teaspoon of cumin seeds. Now I have used fresh turmeric root. I've just minced it using a mortar pestle, and I'm going to saute that. Fresh turmeric gives a very authentic flavor and also very good for health. Now here also I have added around 1 tablespoon of minced ginger, and I'm going to saute it for around few seconds, and then I have used some Ekadashi spice powder which I made at home. Now, if you don't have that, you can use fennel and coriander roasted seeds, and then you just powder it and you can just use that. No, not a problem. So I'm going to saute it on extreme low heat for around 30 seconds, and now I'm going to add around 3 tomatoes blended paste. So make sure you don't add water in these tomatoes, you just blend it without any water, and that's how you'll get the paste. Now increase the heat to medium and add around a tablespoon of salt. Salt will help to cook the tomatoes faster. Now I'm going to cover it and cook it on medium heat. After checking the tomatoes, I'm going to again let it cook for some time. This needs a little bit more softness, and the raw flavor of the tomatoes needs to be completely gone. So I'm going to cover it and cook it for around 5 minutes more, and now check upon the tomatoes. So now the color has changed a little bit, it has darkened, so we know that the tomatoes are done. Now I have taken 2 medium-sized potatoes and have chopped them in small cube size. First I will add a red dried chili, and then after that I am going to add the potatoes. Mix everything nicely. Make sure all the spices and the tomatoes cover the potatoes nicely. The reason why we cook the tomatoes properly so that the sourness of the tomato will not keep the potatoes uncooked. Now I'm going to let this potatoes cook. So first reducing the heat to low and then adding around a cup of water, and then covering it and cooking it for around 10 to 15 minutes. Here the water which I have used is total around 1 cup, but I am adding it gradually so that I am not making it too watery. Now it's cooking, and now I'm going to check after 15 minutes. So these potatoes have cooked around 80%. I'm going to just check how much tender they are. And now I'm going to add around a cup of coconut cream. Now this coconut cream you have to mix nicely to these potatoes and the mixture, and then you have to allow it to cook for another 10 to 15 minutes. So the main point is that the potatoes don't get overcooked or become mushy in it. So you can occasionally check the potatoes if they have cooked properly, at the same time they are not completely soft. Here the sabji is cooked. Now, cream always has a tendency to thicken later on once it gets cool. So if you think that the consistency is very thick, then you can add a little bit of water. So I have added a little bit of water because I know after it cools down, it will become a little bit thicker. So after doing this, I am going to check the potatoes if they are cooked properly or not. So once I am completely assured that the potatoes are nicely cooked, then I'm just going to add some cumin seed powder. Now this cumin seed, I had roasted it and then powdered it. So I'm just going to add that cumin seed powder to it. This was like around half teaspoon, and then I turned off the stove and then garnished it with fresh cilantro. Now this sabji, creamy sabji is ready, and I'm going to keep it aside. Now you see this squash, this is actually completely boiled and cooked. I'm going to check it with the help of a knife. Discard this water, and then I'm going to cool down this squash or put it under cold water and then peel the outside part of it, because that peel is not useful for us. So just peel it off and then we will start making the soup. So I've taken like around 2 cups of water, and in that I added the squash. I've also taken 1 potato which I had shown you before. I chopped them and then I added. It is better if we chop the potato in small chunks like this, then the cooking time will be less. Once this all is added, then I'm going to add some lemongrass to it. Now lemongrass, I have taken 1 stick of it. Usually in India you can actually get the green leaves of the lemongrass. If you get a stick, that is also well good enough. That's what I always use. So I'm using that lemongrass stick. After this, I'm going to add some lime leaves. The green limes which we get, they come with some leaves. Those are these leaves. Now I'm going to let this all boil. Just cover it with a lid and cook it for around 15 to 20 minutes on low heat. So now everything looks good. The potatoes are also soft and tender. So I'm going to just remove the lemongrass and some of the lime leaves out. Lemongrass, sometimes when it just gets into the mouth, it doesn't feel that much pleasant, especially the stick. So it's better that we remove those unwanted sticks and the leaves from the soup. Now I'm going to add around half tablespoon of salt, and then I added around 1/4 cup of cream. Now this cream is like regular whipping cream. Make sure that the whipping cream you get is Ekadashi friendly. If you don't have that option, then you can just add coconut cream, not a problem. Then I added some chopped bell peppers. These are red bell peppers, and I'm going to just cook it for around 2 to 3 minutes and then turn off the stove. In the end, I just sprinkled a little bit of chili flakes and then kept it aside. Now in this mixing grinder, I have taken around 1.5 cups of tapioca pearls. This is the ingredient we are going to use for making the puris. So I'm going to finely powder it. We need a nice powder form of this tapioca. So just be patient and powder it nicely. Just check it with the help of your fingers like this. Now wash that pot of the mixing grinder, and then in that add around 2 medium-sized chopped potatoes. Add around 2 inches of ginger. Then around 5 green chilies. Don't worry, this puri will not get spicy because there's tapioca and potatoes involved. Then I added a teaspoon of cumin seeds. Now I'm going to make a thick paste without any water. Don't worry, the water will be released from the potatoes itself and the ginger as well. So this is the paste consistency we require. Now in this flour, I am going to add around half tablespoon of salt. You can even increase a little bit because it doesn't get salty because of the tapioca flour and the potatoes. Mix it well. In this now add around half cup of chopped cilantro. Mix nicely. Now gradually add that potato paste which we made. Now the thing is, I am adding around a tablespoon after tablespoon because I want to make sure that this dough doesn't get too wet. As it is, the tapioca will soak up the liquid, but I'm just doing it to be on the safer side. So 1 tablespoon at a time and knead it to see how much paste it requires. I'm just going to knead it nicely. So I've used up all the paste. This means the measurement is perfect here. Now I'm going to cover this. First, grease some olive oil or ghee to it and then cover it and keep it aside for around 15 minutes. Now by this time, I'm going to keep some oil in a wok because the puris need not extreme hot oil, especially this puri. The regular puris they need extreme hot oil, but this puri does not need extreme hot oil. Keep this dough aside for some time and now start preparing the salad. Now this is a very simple salad which I prepared. This is like very refreshing. It doesn't have much ingredients and it tastes great. So what I've done is I've taken one full big cucumber and then grated it. And after grating it, I added salt, like little bit salt, or you can say salt as per taste. Don't add too much salt to it, just enough so that it gives little bit of flavor. But the cucumber's flavor is extremely refreshing, so you don't need too much salt or add any extreme flavors to it. So there are only three ingredients I have used in this cucumber. One is the salt, other is the black pepper, and the third is the lemon juice. So the black pepper I have added like around quarter teaspoon. So this is just like pinch and then I'm going to add a little bit more. And after adding the black pepper, I have added few drops of lemon juice. Mixed everything and then I have surrounded it with a wrap and then kept it in the freezer for like around 15 to 20 minutes. Now once this is in the freezer, we are going to start frying the puris. The oil is already hot. So here the dough has been rested for around 15 minutes. So I'm going to remove one ball out of it. You can even divide this dough into equal portions. Suppose if your dough you feel is a little harder, you can sprinkle some water on top and then make it a little bit softer. But I don't think so you'll need that. So what I've done is I've taken a portion, greased a little bit of oil to it so that it doesn't stick to the rolling pin, and then I have rolled it in this manner. So this dough has been rolled for around the size of your palm. So if you see my palm, it has been rolled to that size. Make sure all the edges, they are not too thick. They are equally evenly rolled. After this, I'm going to take a bowl, like a small mini bowl, and I'm going to make a shape like ball shape because this is not a ideal gluten flour. And this remaining part, I'm going to put it back to the dough. So I'll keep this aside and then follow the same for the remaining things. Once this is done, I'm going to take a little bit portion of this dough and add it to the oil to see how much hot it is. If it is too low, then I'm going to wait for it to heat, but this is perfect. So this is what we want. Make sure it is not too hot or fuming. So this is exact heat we require. So I'm going to add first 2 at a time. And now the frying of it has to be like around 5 to 7 minutes. The ideal thing to do in this frying is that little bit it gets cooked at the base, then you flip it. So you have to flip often, unlike the regular puris, because you want to make sure, as this is tapioca, it needs to be cooked evenly. Now, this is not an ideal puri that it rises like or puffs like a puri, but even when you are like removing it out, this puri after certain minutes, you will feel that it is very hard. But don't worry, after just few seconds or a minute, it is going to become soft. So here it is, see, nice and soft. That's the magic of tapioca and potato. So this puri is really great, very good to eat with the sabji. I'm going to add the sabji in the bowl. The squash soup, and then the salad. So this simple meal is ready. I hope you liked watching this video. Ari Radha is going to place a tulsi leaf and offer it at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. How is it?
Yummy.
Yummy?
Favorite. Yummy.